Hey YouTube, this is the other guy coming to you today. Listen, I'm doing a project today and I was wanting to show you what I'm doing. Today I am installing a snorkel. Now those of you who have a first generation Tundra like mine will know that they do not make snorkels for our generation Tundra. However, okay, and I say however with a grain of salt, you can adapt a snorkel that is built for a Toyota onto our truck, and all you need to do is buy a snorkel kit for it, and it has to be from a Land Cruiser 100 series Land Cruiser. And as you can see here, ST100. 100 signifies the Land Cruiser 100 series. Okay, so that's what you have to buy. A kit like that costs about 60 to 80 bucks, and you can order it online. So this is the kit. This is the template, actually. This is the template, and we're going to be using this template. I realize it's not a Tundra template, so this is for the Fender. It's a template for the for the Land Cruiser 100 Fender, and this is how the snorkel looks like. This is just an accessory where it will be going into the air filter, and it'll be sucked up through there. Okay, and then this is the ram air, okay, to the end of the snorkel here. These are the accessories. You can see I haven't opened it. So listen, if you are interested in this video, follow along with me and let's have fun together. Okay, so you can see that this template is not made for our trucks, right? See, line up with top fender. That's what this is. Line up with top fender. And it ain't gonna line up, guys. See that? And you see how this is crooked like this? Well, it ain't gonna line up with our fender. So, with that being said, what we're probably going to have to do is we're going to have to aim it, eyeball it, making sure that it lines up with this little hole right here. And you know what? Let's take this out so you have an idea of what I'm doing, okay? Okay, so as you can see here, I've removed the air filter here. So basically, what we're aiming for is this part right here. Let's take off the filter element here. And the snorkel will fit into this area right here. Okay, so let's remove the fender here. You see these bolts right here, this bolt along with those bolts over there. Okay, we're going to take out these bolts, and then we're going to try to remove the fender. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to fast forward this. Okay guys, so I have removed the fender. I'll show you what I did. Basically, you're going to have to remove the headlights here. Okay, there's a bolt that goes into here, that goes into the fender there. And this bolt right here, see that right there? Bolts onto one of the bracket that was removed with the fender. Okay, so you have to loosen the headlight and the signal lights here. Okay, so then you'll have to remove the bolts that bolts on the fenders onto the frame here. Okay, after that, there's a bolt that sits on the bottom of this thing right here, and you have to remove that. And then after that, there's a bolt that is bolted onto there. To do that, you have to remove you have to open the door to remove that last bolt, and this thing should lift up and out. And this is what happens. See this? I found out this is a cheap antenna. Look at this. Found out this is just a pipe. It's just a plastic tube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to open this up and then enlarge it, and then make another pipe, but this time it won't be plastic, which is too cheap. I'm going to get a aluminum tube so that I can make my own antenna holder. Okay, so this is the antenna. It goes in like that, but over the years it broke. See that? Okay, from there. So that's why I couldn't tighten this at all. Okay, so now we have a problem here. See, this tube right here, you see, it's too big to go over here in a way that you can clip it on. So what I am forced to do, okay, is I am forced to either cut a hole here, enlarge this hole, and I'll show you. Now this right here, and this is why it's stuck in water. See this right opening right here? It's open here, and when I was going through the flood, water was getting sucked up through here, from the wheel up to here into the intake. So you see this right here? Okay. This is the air filter housing, and as you can see here, this thing, keep in mind, okay, this is a Land Cruiser kit, so this thing is too small. See this part? Okay, it's too small, and so I'm gonna have to find a way to adapt something into here so that I can do this efficiently. I'm gonna have to either enlarge this area so that this thing can fit nicely into here, or I don't know. We'll have to see as time goes by. But I'm thinking about. Okay, guys. So this is what I'm doing. I am widening that hole. Okay, you can see that. Those little saw marks right there is actually cut into the inside of there. Okay, so there you go. I'm gonna fast forward this so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so as you can see, I've cut out this hole and I've smoothed it. Okay, it's not really smooth to the touch. There's still some sharp edges, but for right now, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna live with this, and I'm gonna have to fit it like that. Okay, so this thing can stick out this long. Okay, meaning that. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to find a way to enlarge this, cut this out, but enlarge this so this thing can slip over like that. Okay, and then I'll use a that little cinch ring and cinch it there. Okay, guys, so this is what I'm going to do. You see this? Earlier, this little thing had a little, okay, here it is, thingy like that. Okay, if you look at yours, it'll resemble something like this, right? So I use my knife, cut that off, chop that off. So, and then there's this little, if you have yours, you will see that there's this little foam padding. This is to seal off water, okay? However, I've cut this off, and this is what I discovered, okay? So, this thing right here can actually be forced to go over this little knob right here, okay? Watch this. Earlier. Okay. Force this over. Okay. There you go. Alright. So that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna slide this over like this. Okay. When this is installed in there, I'm gonna slide this over, and then I am going to use my gosh, I'm tired, hose retainer, and clip this in to make it airtight and watertight. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna cut any of this off. And that's what I discovered. Okay guys, so remember what I told you? So it goes in really nicely. Goes in here really nicely. And that's how it looks like. Okay. It goes in there really nicely there too. Okay. So later we're gonna clamp this in and it'll be watertight. But in the meantime, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to figure out, alright, how this thing is gonna stay. And I'll show you. Okay, so the plan is to have this thing like this. Because we don't have this to work with, what we're gonna do is, you know how I made it so that I could see that little line in there? Anyway, I'm gonna take this out. Oops. Okay. Leave that like that, because that's pressure fit right here. I'm gonna put a little bit of silicone here, and then bring my Fender over and put it on, and then I'll work out the center. And then once that's done, then I can establish this center point right here. Okay. I can establish the center point, and then the rest is history. Okay. So anyway, that's that. Okay guys, so this is what I'm gonna do. I am going to mock install this, okay, and okay, so this is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of silicone, okay, onto the mouth here. The reason is because, like before, when I smear the silicone here, when I mock this onto the inside of the fender, it'll leave a circle, okay, onto the fender. Okay, and that's where I know how to mark my spot. Okay. Okay, So this is Fender. So I'm going to fast forward this, guys, so that you'll have an idea of what I'm doing. Got some primer. Okay. It's sitting flush inside there already, okay? So, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to spray this so that there's an outline. Okay. So white doesn't look good. Okay. Alright. I like that. And then I'm gonna open this. So you can see here. Okay. You can see here. There's an outline here. Okay. So we're gonna look for the center here. And this is where the fun begins. Okay. Oops. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna find the circumference of this thing. Okay. And to do that, we're going to open up this bag, the accessory. The only sad thing about this thing is that it doesn't come with any direction. So we'll have to wing it the way it is. Okay, so this is the circumference. Okay. Okay, so this is the outline of the circle here. So we're gonna use this, and we're gonna put it onto the fender there, and we're gonna find the circumference, the center. Okay, guys, so this is what I'm doing. So I use that circle clip to draw myself a circle right here, because obviously that's going to be the circumference of my circle. So I am cutting a template of my own. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm going to use this template to find the center point of that circle that I just drew. Okay. Now I realize it's not a perfect circle. Okay. But to find that circle, that center point, fold it in half. Okay. Like that. And then fold it the opposite half. Okay. And ta-da! That's the center. Okay. Doesn't take a rocket scientist, doesn't it? Okay. So what we're gonna do, we are gonna cut a little bit there. Guess what will happen now? There's a hole in the center. Okay, so let's go over here, guys. So you don't really need a shop to do this. So now, you see this hole right here in the center right here? I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Okay. Here. See that? See that circle? I drew a circle there. So what I do is I match, okay, this, okay, drawing with that circle right here, and then stick it right here in the center. There you go, you have a center point. Okay, be right back. So now we have the center point. What we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole in there. Okay. Okay, that's the center. Now we're going to go. We can do this a cheap way, or we could get a cutting wheel and cut this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a cutting wheel. Okay guys, remember that little spot that I showed you and how to get the center here? So anyway, we found the center here, okay? So that's what we need to do. So we don't want to, although we found the center, we still need to do this, okay? And I'll show you here. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is what we need to do. Basically, we want to find the circumference, the outer diameter of this snorkel, okay? This is the snorkel. See that? Okay, so we're going to be cutting a hole that fits around the snorkel right here. Okay, so what I did to find the circumference is use one of these rings right here. Okay, and what did I do? Okay, and I tighten it around this thing right here. Okay, once that's done, I trace the circle here onto this piece of paper right here. Okay, so then I cut the paper out into a little circle like this, fold it in half, right? Fold this in half, okay? And then, remember how I showed you how to find the center point? Fold that in half, cut a little bit of this, just a minute so that you can see a hole like that, okay? And that's the center point. So what we need to do, I thought I'd make this so that if you're following my direction, that you are not making the same mistake as I am. So here, I was too mature in my drawing on this. That is, I was using the other template to do it, and actually this is the correct size. See? So let's see. That needs to zoom in.